tennis has never been bigger. On paper, the sport is booming. Revenue is rising, tournaments are everywhere, and global exposure is higher than ever before. But behind the lights, something doesn't feel right. Players are exhausted, fans are frustrated, and some of the biggest names in the sport are quietly stepping away from the system. So the question is simple. Is world table tennis growing the sport or breaking it? World Table Tennis, or WTT, was designed to modernize the sport. And in many ways, it worked. Revenue reportedly grew from around $16 million in 2019 to over $50 million by 2024. The sport is now broadcast across dozens of markets and media platforms worldwide. Social media engagement is climbing year after year, and table tennis is reaching audiences it never had before. On paper, this looks like a perfect success story. More money, more events, more visibility. But the deeper you go, the more complicated it becomes. Because growth in numbers doesn't always mean health in the system. The modern WTT calendar is intense. Across a single season, players compete in a layered system. Feeder events, contender events, star contender, champions, and grand smashes. In theory, this creates opportunity for everyone. In practice, it creates constant pressure. There is barely any off-season anymore. Top players are expected to travel, compete, recover, and repeat, almost all year round. And the consequences are starting to show. We've seen withdrawals due to injury and illness. Lin Gaoyun pulling out of major events. Manav Thakur withdrawing in Frankfurt due to illness. Liang Jinka dealing with a long-term back injury. Aruna Quadri forced to withdraw mid-competition. Individually, these look like normal sports injuries. But together, they paint a pattern. A system under stress. Here, where the problem becomes bigger than individual players. The schedule creates fatigue. Fatigue leads to injuries and withdrawals. Withdrawals lead to weaker matchups. Weaker matchups reduce viewer excitement. And when viewers lose interest, sponsors hesitate. So the system reacts the only way it knows how. More events to increase revenue, which creates even more fatigue. It's a cycle, a spiral. And the question is whether the sport is trapped inside it. Because table tennis doesn't actually lack fans. In countries like China, it remains one of the most watched sports during major events. The audience is still there. The issue is consistency and quality of matches. When the best players are constantly injured, tired, or absent, the product suffers. Now let's talk about money. In 2024, the top male table tennis earner reportedly made around $260,000 in prize money. The top female earner earned slightly less. At first glance, that might sound impressive. But compare it to tennis. In the ATP Tour, the top 10 players in a single season can collectively earn over $80 million. Even the lowest earner in that top 10 makes multiple millions per year. That means the gap between table tennis and tennis isn't small. It's not even close. It's an entirely different financial universe. And this matters. Because money shapes decisions. It shapes training schedules, recovery time, motivation, and even career longevity. When the financial reward doesn't match the physical demand, pressure builds somewhere else on the players. For many fans, the frustration is simple. They can no longer consistently watch the best possible matches. Not because the sport isn't talented, but because the top players are not always there. Injuries, withdrawals, scheduling conflicts, exhaustion. The result is unpredictable lineups and inconsistent quality. And that creates a problem modern sports cannot afford. Attention loss. Because in today's world, attention is everything. Once fans stop expecting great matches every time, they stop watching regularly. And once that happens, recovery is extremely difficult. Perhaps the clearest signal of tension in the system is the reaction of top players themselves. One of the biggest names in the sport, Fan Zhendong, stepped away from parts of the WTT system entirely. Not officially as a retirement, but as a refusal to fully participate in the structure as it currently exists. And that raises a deeper question. If the system is truly optimal, why are the best players distancing themselves from it? Is it burnout? Is it scheduling? Or is it something more fundamental about how the sport is now organized? To be fair, WTT doesn't see itself as the problem. Its goal is to globalize table tennis, to create a structured professional circuit, to give more players from more countries a chance to compete at high-level events, and to build a product that can survive commercially in the long term. From that perspective, more tournaments mean more opportunities, not less. So the reality is not black and white. It's a conflict between two visions of the sport. One focused on growth and global expansion. The other focused on sustainability and player health. Jigsaw outro / final question 9301000. So where does that leave table tennis? A sport that is bigger than ever, but more strained than ever. A system that is growing financially, but under pressure physically. And a future that depends on one question. Can table tennis balance business growth with player survival? Or is it heading toward a point where something has to break?